Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again in this YouTube astrological segment. And we'll be talking about astrology and actress Tiffany Haddish testing positive for the coronavirus, aka COVID-19. And she had just announced recently that she has tested positive for it. She had some interview with Dr. Anthony Fauci on this matter. Uh, Tiffany Haddish has a Sun in Sagittarius and Moon in Gemini and Capricorn ascendant, according to the chart on Astro.com. And looking at, her chart, I thought it was interesting. One of the first things that stood out and struck me was the fact that, okay, she had this interview with, I don't know if it's renowned he's infectious disease expert or what have you, Dr. Anthony Fauci. I think he's also an immunologist, but you have to check and verify on that on the internet or what have you. But transit Mercury is very close to her natal Saturn at this time. This could manifest in having communications with somebody that might be an authority on health-related matters, especially the fact that it's in Virgo. Uh, this is and also a communication regarding something, some kind of limitation, might be causing some kind of limitation or restriction. And another thing, uh, when I'm looking at two in her chart, she's got a number of transits in her first house of the physical body. Transit Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn and Capricorn are in her first house right now. And as far as Jupiter goes, as many of you have said in previous videos, Jupiter can be very paradoxical, could be very strongly benign and benevolent, but could also have a tendency to enlarge and expand. In this case, it may be enlarging some, you would say, limitations with the physical body, and it may even be some issues that are Capricorn related. COVID-19 can give body aches, and I think the body aches can be virtually in any spot on the body. I don't know if it has certain limitations as far as muscular body aches, but I would think, at least theoretically, though the body aches can happen on any part of the body. Uh, Capricorn rules. It's the knees, the bones, the joints, the hamstrings. I would imagine she may be experiencing some pain in the knees, the hamstrings. Another thing too is with transit Pluto in the first. Pluto can be associated with viruses. The first house is, of course, connected with the physical body. And first house, is also our energy, our vitality. So with transit Saturn there, she's likely experiencing some limitations as far as that goes. The thing about it, though, is when you have transit Saturn, and when Saturn is retrograde, sometimes that could manifest in not really being cognizant of our limitations, and as a result could cause, in her case being in the first house, some overexertion, especially the fact it's in the first house of the physical body and the energy and vitality. Now, another thing that I noticed too, as far as a natal placement goes, she has the moon in Gemini. Now, the moon in Gemini, moon, um, moon in Gemini by itself may give some issues as far as the lungs, so with the breathing, the respiratory system, and the thing is, she also she has it making an inconjunct aspect to her ascendant, so that could really, it could reaffirm some health related issues, because as far as Gemini goes, because inconjuncts can often be about health related issues, something debilitating. Now, another thing, what I noticed she has when looking at her chart, also she has Mars in Virgo, and having Mars in Virgo and Jupiter making a conjunction to it. Now, when Jupiter conjuncts a planet, sometimes, as stated before, that means Jupiter can enlarge and exacerbate things. Now, it may enlarge. The fact that Jupiter is conjunct her Mars in her chart can indicate that there can be an enlargement of some kind of issues, physical related matters that are Virgo related. It could be something with the spleen or the pancreas. She may, as a result of this coronavirus, she might experience some pain in that area. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong with the spleen or the pancreas, but it might be in that general where that area is in the body where she might be feeling some pain. Um, Now, another thing I noticed too is that she has Venus conjunct her ascendant in the 12th house, and Venus can be associated with the throat, the neck, and the thyroid area. Now, Venus in astrology is associated with the throat and the neck, and it's also I mean, coronavirus, I mean, you could have, as far as symptoms go, that are connected with the coronavirus. There can be issues with the sore throat, it can be coughing, it can be something with the perhaps some neck pain, and because the coronavirus can be associated with body aches. And keep in mind too that, I mean, I researched this just very shortly before this video, that coronavirus also in some cases, as far as side effects like after effects or what have you, can be associated with the thyroid area, and Venus does rule the thyroid. So anyway, another thing I noticed too is that not only does she have the moon in Gemini, Gemini is on the 6th house cusp of physical health, so that's another indicator of possible health-related issues that are associated with the lungs, breathing, the respiratory system. She also has transit North Node in Gemini in the 6th house of health at this time, and when you're talking about the North Node in transit, it can sometimes manifest in issues one may have to address or confront, and in this case it could be Gemini health related matters, again going back to the breathing, the lungs, the respiratory system. She might even be dealing with some body aches in the arms, the hands, the shoulders at this time as well. Another thing also is that she has the sun, her sun making a conjunction to her Neptune. Neptune can be about diseases in astrology, and the sun, of course, can be associated with the vitality, the energy, the physical body, and life as well. So it's not surprising she has contracted the coronavirus, because Neptune can be they can be about diseases. Coronavirus, I would say, is a disease, and the sun can be associated with the physical body to some degree, because I mean, I understand the ascendant is what dominates the appearance and the physical body and health, but the sun can also be associated with the physical body as well. And when you're talking about Sagittarius, can be associated with the thighs. It can be also the hips. So there might be some body ache she may be going through as far as that goes. And also, when you have Neptune conjunct your sun, it could also show a little bit. It can be an indication of some dissolving or dissipation of the physical energy and vitality. So those are some ways that can manifest and pan out. She also has another thing I noticed too is that the transit sun at this time in Virgo, the sign of health, is in her 8th house, and the 8th house in astrology can be associated with viruses. And remember that the sun is also about our focus, our attention. So it's probably something that she's doing with a very, with a lot of discernment, and really seeing the fine print, the details in this matter as well. She has another thing I noticed too is that the ruler of her 6th house of health is Mercury in Scorpio conjunct Uranus. So when you have the ruler of the 6th house and it's conjunct Uranus, that could be an indicator of some health related issue that might come up very shockingly, very spontaneously. Could also be the fact that she has Mercury in Scorpio. I mean, Scorpio is the zodiac sign I would say is associated with viruses, because Scorpio is ruled by Pluto. Pluto is associated with viruses. Hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that, I'm back. But anyway, and when you're talking about Mercury in Scorpio can be very investigative, probing, and also may have more of an interest in finding out about things using deep research. And in this case, it might be just having an understanding, a deeper understanding of viruses. I mean, Mercury in Scorpio again could be very provocative. They're thinking very deeply, wanting to investigate, very probing, and trying to get to the heart of the matter through investigation. So I believe she probably is going to really research this very deeply. And the thing about, she has an interesting combination with the Sun in Sagittarius and Capricorn rising, because even though they're adjacent signs, they could be very different. Adjacent signs really may not really comprehend each other that much. I saw something on some blog one time, somebody had it was an astrologer had this, and he said that adjacent signs don't really understand each other, because it's like basically by sign, adjacent signs are 30 degrees apart. It's like if you're standing somewhere and somebody is like right exactly to the left or to the right of you, you can't really see them even with their peripheral vision. She has the Sun in Sagittarius, which her inner personality, her true self, is very buoyant. Somebody that's very jocular, jovial, exuberant, enthusiastic. But her astrological mask, her facade, Capricorn rising, is going to come across a little bit more serious, maybe even a little more despondent at times, and more placid. Somebody that's a lot more serious, at least superficially, and somebody that's not nearly as whimsical as the typical Sagittarius sun. But what it also tells me, anything that she may be doing as far as Sagittarius related, whether it's expanding horizons or something global, whether it's a foreign travel, higher education, doing anything like with sports, for example, it's going to be done. The fact that Capricorn is rising, and may be done with a lot more premeditation, a lot more prudence, and not in thinking more before actually doing it more, and it's going to be done with more discipline, consistent energy. I noticed too that she has the Sun in Sagittarius and the Moon in Gemini, and they're very fairly tight opposition aspect to each other. So this is something where, I mean, of course, she was born on a full moon. I don't know if she was born on a lunar eclipse. I didn't research this. This was some video I did, kind of an impromptu, spontaneous video. But anyways, really not much more I wanted to say on this as far as any natal placements or transits that she had that's related to her contracting the COVID-19 coronavirus. The only other thing that I noticed, and I've stated this in previous videos, okay, she has right now the transit South Node in Sagittarius is in her 12th house. It's not far from her natal Neptune. When you're talking about the South Node in transit, it can reflect and manifest in issues that we're going to be going away from. The good news is when this does pass her natal Neptune, I mean, I think the South Node right now is like around 25 degrees Sagittarius, and her Neptune is like around 19 degrees Sagittarius. So it's not going to be that much longer before it makes the applying conjunction and it passes through a separating conjunction. I don't know the exact time. It might be like you're looking at like maybe another month or two, but you have to look that up online if you want to check on that. But what it tells me is that this thing will pass. She should get out of this okay, I believe. And when the South Node, again, we're going away from something, in this case Neptune related. Neptune can be associated with diseases, and interestingly enough, being in Sagittarius, this is something with a global nature. It's a pandemic. And when the transit South Node, I would say even when it makes the tight applying conjunction to her Neptune, she may be going away, so to speak, from this coronavirus situation. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.